listening to Tough Tiger Talk Flash Report.
Shout out to the Tough Tiger Talk Nation. We up in this thing. Shout out to the fan. Appreciate y'all joining us for this episode of Tough Tiger Talk. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and by all means, feel free to share Tough Tiger Talk with the rest of the diehards across the world. Man, this one's a very interesting one, and you know what, fam? It's going to be interesting because I might as well send Greg McElroy. Let me send him an invitation to join the Tiger family, man. I mean, just come on with it. So many great compliments, a lot of great stuff, and I got to give it to McElroy. He is definitely giving LSU some love. He's talking about a lot of positive stuff, and listen, it's tough for him, and he's a straight up Alabama guy, to give all this love to the LSU nation, man. So I just think it's a fantastic thing, man, to just call it like it is. I'm Big Q in this episode, fam. And we're going to cover this as McElroy names Jayden Daniels the top quarterback in the SEC. So let's get to some of the audio on this from Mr. McElroy. Like to hear it go.
One ranker that a lot of people have really looked forward to this offseason is our SEC quarterback ranker as of right now. Granted, it's early June, so this is kind of post-spring, early summer. A lot can change. A lot of quarterback battles in the SEC are still underway. So it's almost difficult to put together a whole list, a complete list, without leaving out some guys that might very well find their way into the top 5 by the end of the season. There are quarterback battles all throughout the league. You got one at Ole Miss. You got one at Georgia, technically. You got one at Florida. You got one at Alabama. You got one technically at Tennessee. So there's a lot of quarterback battles that are still raging on. So this will be something that we will reevaluate as we get a little closer to fall camp and as we get a little closer to the season. But as of right now, as of where we're at today in early June, here's how we see it. I think the league top to bottom at quarterback is actually quite good. I said earlier last week that the Big Ten has the highest upside amongst the quarterbacks that might be stepping into starting spots. Guys like Drew Aller at Penn State that might very well by season's end be a complete game changer. But at this point, still, even though we're optimistic, even though we're bullish, still need to see a little bit more in real live action to be convinced that he can be a game-changing quarterback for the Nittany Lions. Similar things can be said about the SEC quarterback pool in and of itself. I have a lot of faith in Jackson Dart and Spencer Sanders. I don't know who it's going to be, but ultimately, I think Ole Miss's quarterback situation's in great hands. So you got to take some of this with a bit of a grain of salt as some of these competitions are still going on. But let's start at the top, shall we? The best quarterback returning in the SEC, to me, is Jayden Daniels at LSU. Now, you look at what he did last year. Can you tell me a player, maybe in the SEC, maybe in all of college football, maybe you want to take it in the Power 5, however you want to explain it, tell me a player that looked more comfortable in their final game of the season than the first game of the season than Jayden Daniels. And think about the progression that was made when he played against Florida State to where we saw him in the bowl game, where he was completely lights out. Now, you can take into account the final 2 games of the, quote, regular season. You look at how he played against A&M. You look at how he played in the SEC championship game in the first half. Second half was great. But either way, this was a player that got more and more comfortable as the season went along. And you think about, too, what he accomplished previously at Arizona State. This is a guy that has 9,000 yards career throwing the football. He also could be a guy this year that might have 1,000 on the ground, might have 3,000 through the air, and returns an excellent supporting cast. Offensive line should be, if not the best in the SEC, but arguably the best. Wide receivers, if not the best in the SEC, arguably the best. You look across the board, man, he's got everything that you could want. And now another year in the system. Mike Denbrock, the quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, Brian Kelly, who's very hands-on with how they go about tutoring that position. You saw signs of growth throughout the season last year, and you only can assume that growth is going to increase exponentially now that he's had an entire offseason as the number one guy. Jayden Daniels is my number one guy coming into the fall of 2023 for the SEC quarterbacks.
All right, there he is. That's Greg McElroy's thoughts on it, and he lays it out there and he talks about Jayden Daniels, makes a lot of really good points. It was just a great pickup, and we don't give Coach Kelly the supreme credit we really need to give him for getting Jayden Daniels to come to LSU. I mean, he's been absolutely phenomenal. The last few games of the season, he was dealing with injuries off and on, but I often wondered what he would have looked like in that championship game had he been totally healthy. It'd have been a different game, no doubt about it. But he felt like he had unfinished business, his words, Jayden Daniels' words, coming back to LSU to finish up. And a lot of people feel you got a very experienced quarterback on top of the LSU offense. They got a lot of really talented weapons to go along them in the wide receiver room, the tight end room, as well as the running back room has been really upgraded. With Trey Bradford coming in, offensive line will play better. The defense gets Mason Smith back. Harold Perkins has another year under his belt, and we bring in more talent to help out in the secondary as well. So LSU, like I said last year, and came through the SEC, got up to the SEC championship game, and it was just a rocket to the sky. And what will the second year look like? But shout out to Greg McElroy. I had to send him a honorary membership to join the purple and the gold here, because let me tell you something, man. Keep on coming out with these great commentaries, giving LSU credit when you're an Alabama guy. So shout out to him right there as well. So what do you think about Mr. McElroy, his thought process on Jayden Daniels? Do you believe like he believes that Jayden Daniels is the best quarterback in the SEC right now? I got to give it to him, man. The kid can throw the ball. He's a phenomenal talent. He's difficult. He's the fastest kid on the field when it's time to take off. So, like I said, there's a lot of great things that's going to happen for LSU in this upcoming season. Love it. And shout out to McElroy giving Jayden Daniels some credit heading into this upcoming season for the Fighting Tigers. So with that being said, I'm going to get out on that. Put your comments in the comment section below, family. Let me know how you guys feel about McElroy's thoughts on Jayden Daniels and LSU. How do you feel about that? Give me your list of quarterbacks in the SEC if you disagree. If you agree, give me your list. Give me your top 3 quarterbacks in the SEC moving into this upcoming year. With that being said, I'm Big Q. Please feel free to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and feel free to share. Sharing is caring. Share the show's links on your social media feed with other diehard Tiger faithful. With that being said, I'll be out on that. Much love to the fam, and go Tigers.